Brother, how you doing? Welcome.
I'm good. How
Good. So look, man, you do a lot of traveling. We
Yes,
see you sporadically.
yes.
You come to the cafe, and next minute you're here for a bit, and then you're off somewhere else. You've just come back from the Philippines, and you're sharing a little story with your missus that, you love being in the jungle, and
Literally,
Mr.
I feel
Tarzan
home.
over here.
I feel home when I'm in the jungle.
Yeah.
I think it's bringing you back to nature, whereas like literally you feel the freedom away from society. Um, for me, jungle and sea is the best thing. You switch off from all the grasping of this world bringing to you. Yeah, Philippines was amazing. I was in Palawan. We trying to create a new heaven for us there. We buying some land and yeah, beautiful place.
What is heaven to you?
Heaven to me, try not to think.
Okay.
Try. It's not an easy thing.
So you
People
try not
say.
to think. So if you try
Yeah.
not to think, what do you think is going to happen?
The mind always come back. The mind never stops. You just need to know how to manage it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what is it?
Society
how do you
teach
manage
you
it?
how to always want more. That's what society built in. The less you have, the less problem you have. I see these happy people. I was in Bali before that. I was in Japan even. I was in Mexico. It's the same. People so happy when they have less, but they really have more than anybody else because they live on that moment of wherever provided for them in that moment. That's what they live in. In Europe and the Western society, we just think of the future all the time. This is what we aiming for.
Yeah.
The future never come because there always this moment. Whatever you're gonna do about it, it is this moment. So I try to be in a peaceful state most of the time. I get triggered sometimes by people and by situations, but I always get back to this moment will pass too, kind of thing.
So you're creating your heaven. There's something about trying not to think. Tell us a little bit about, where this desire came from. Because it seems like from people there was a past that you were in the city before. Was there something, were you there before?
I've
Were you
been-
working? What was your moment of transition, let's say?
My background, I came from originally from Libya, so I left Libya when I was 20 years old. Just found that it's not suitable for me at that time, and I needed to get out to see the world. I ended up in England. I traveled Europe before that, but I ended up in England, and I've been there for 30 years. I owned companies, I employed people, I did it all in a way, and it's not satisfying. There's always something else you're looking for. What is it? I find myself, I'm always chasing, even in London, wherever property I live in, it always has to be near water, near forest, or a park. Or I realize when my nature is where the greens and the waters are. So so I given up chasing money, status. I find it never stop. We will grow old very quickly, just chasing these things. I just let go of things. I just took my hands off the steering wheel and see where life will take me. But I react to every situation arrive towards me. I always look at it from what is for me, not as a person what I can get out of it. What is peaceful for me from this situation? What kind of peace is going to bring me?
Where did that stem from? Because you said you left Libya
Yeah.
when you were 20. Where did you go? Where was that? What were you seeking, and how did that show up?
I left Libya. I went to Malta. I went to most of European countries from Holland, Germany, Belgium, Denmark. I tried everywhere to see where my soul, what it's seeking, and where it's gonna end up.
Yeah.
London wasn't in the map, but I ended up there.
You ended up in London.
Yes,
How
in
old were you?
London. I was 20 years old.
20 years old in London.
30
Okay.
years ago.
30 years ago.
So I'm 51 in a few months. So
Whereabouts in London did you end up?
I ended up in literally the center of London.
Okay.
Yeah, Marble Arch, and then Windsor. I got a place in Windsor I stayed there for about 12, 13 years in Windsor.
What were you doing in London?
Just working. I ended up working.
What work?
I did everything you think of, from picking up the rubbish in the streets, from working in the bars, from kitchens, gardening. I landed there with no language skills, so I wasn't speaking English at all.
Okay.
So I needed anything would be just an easy job
I hear
to
you.
get.
Okay.
So and then slowly I ended up doing business with trations and banks. And
How did you get? Hold on. So you just went transition from
transition
picking up
so
trash
quick
to that, and then
Yes,
suddenly
yes.
acquisition. So
The transition was
what happened there?
So I worked for a pub in North London. I think New Barnet, one of the pubs. I was working in the kitchen, cooking some fish and chips and all these things.
I've done that myself.
Yeah.
I've done
And
the same
in
thing.
Muswell Hill in one of these 300 employees company. I was washing the dishes for them every morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Somehow, I met a couple of people who wanted me to escort them at night. It was scary those days for girls to walk back home in Hardley Wood, I remember was.
Yep.
And one of the guys they worked for as an au pairs, he has a fashion brand. Yeah, so I went and I escorted these girls in the middle of the night to Hardley Wood. And then he offered me a job in his company straight away when he saw me outside the door. I have no idea what the job is. I'm sure it's going to be better than the one I'm working in the kitchen. I just said yes. I ended up working for a fashion company. I was the warehouse manager, and then suppliers used to come and supply him with clothing. So I found out he used to send me with these suppliers to go and pay and collect the goods and everything else. So I ended up, it looked like I'm the guy who buying the goods because he never went there, the boss. So
So you were buying the goods, legal
for-
goods.
it's all legal goods, all clothing manufacturers those
Okay.
days in North London. And then from that, I found out why will I be working for him? I can supply him because I know all the sources now.
Okay. So you.
So I ended up
How long did it take for you to suddenly
a
come to that
year
realization?
and a half nearly.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you built up your connections. Your
very
English
quickly.
got better
yeah.
to the point where you now had the connection. You realized,
Exactly.
I can. And he was
I-
all right with that transition.
He was very happy because I could give him better prices than the rest of the suppliers.
Seems
because
like
I
he
know
was a
the
guardian
source.
angel to a degree.
Yeah, and I start supplying him. And those days, instead of him making 170 quid a week, which is those days still lots of money, you start making £2,000 a day.
Wow, that's how much for.
Yeah, because he was ordering like large stock. So
Okay.
for all the shops.
So you just went from that
very quickly,
overnight.
very quickly overnight.
And it seems like all it was a matter of perspective.
yes,
Because you were doing the same thing, but you shifted your perspective. When I can see that I'm already doing the same thing, but if I just tweak it like this, then suddenly it goes from 150 a week to 1,000, 2,000 a day.
yeah,
And I love that because becoming more when you do jobs like you and I have done crazy jobs. It sounds like we've done this and done that. I mean, I've been a chef, I've been a barman, I've done acting. You do all sorts of jobs, whatever you need to do, and what it has brought me is a wealth of perspectives, because life is all based on perspective. Every person's reality is subjective.
yeah.
So when you live so many different jobs and you have so many different
Experiences.
perspectives, you have your experiences.
Yeah.
And with that shift of perspective and the confidence to go, I'm deserving of this new perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to present it. And if I do, it may work. If not, that's okay. And it seems like you just matter of perspective. You managed to just shift your entire life.
It's totally, literally from working 7 days a week, 6 days a week, I started working my own leisure straight away. And I never worked for anybody else after that.
So then
I
you,
always was my own boss.
well then from that moment on, when
Yeah.
you're about 20,
About 22, 20, just before 23.
pretty impressive to come to the UK, not to speak a lick of English. And
Yeah,
for you
I
to
literally
then,
was very hard because I did not speak English at all. I literally, lucky to say, what's your name and where you come from, basically.
So you did that
Yeah.
for a while, and then what was that shift that you felt like you were? 'Cause it seems like even though you got that and you were making money, something doesn't sound like it was fulfilling for you.
100% not. The problem I found, it wasn't the problem, the things I realized, money just tools and just a piece of paper at the end of the day. You could be happier with less. I know enough millionaires, billionaires who's not happy at all, as you know yourself. So I realized doesn't matter how much I was collecting, it did not change my feeling inside. It changed my environment for sure. It made it easy for me. I don't have to get up at 6 in the morning to go to work, responsibility to open warehouses and employees there and all the rest of it. So it made it much easier, but there's something still missing.
Well, that's the thing about money, that it gives you that freedom to suddenly realize, I'm not seeking that carrot like everybody else. They're staying distracted, and through the seeking that they think that one day when they have it, then all their troubles will go away. And when you finally do get to that place, and there's that part of you that goes, I've got it. Why don't I feel like I think I should feel? Which is a beautiful place to go, because money without purpose leads to debauchery. Money with purpose leads to philanthropy. I give that to Dr. John D. Martini. When you feel that you're doing it for no purpose at all and you're trying to distract yourself, it can lead to your spiritual development that much quicker.
Yeah.
Because you suddenly realize you're not fulfilled, you have that. So what is it all about? And most people are actually seeking to get to that moment to realize, it's not about the money and material and attachments.
Yeah.
As you said, we use it as our distraction, and it can pull us apart because it's very hard to let go of that. As I'm sure you're going to share
the comfort,
shortly, the comfort to stay comfortable when you know there's your spirit that's waiting to just break free and go, I want to matter, I want to add value in this world, but I'm comfortable. And how do I leave the confines of my castle? All right, but how do you...
My prison, I call him.
Yeah,
how
well,
you
your prison, but it's a beautiful looking,
you made
prison.
It in your head,
lovely,
it's beautiful.
You know? And,
really,
but, it's like they mention it in the Bible, it's harder for a rich person to give up their possessions than it is for a camel to walk through the eye of the needle, right? Yeah. And I'm reading a book at the moment by Dr. Paul. He's a therapist and a friend of a friend, and I'm reading a really cool book, actually, I have to say. It'll be in the link and everything else. And he says, you know what, you don't have to give up your castle like the Buddha. You didn't have to leave it.
You don't, no.
You can actually still contain your castle and find enlightenment within your castle, not step out of your castle, because ultimately your castle is a representation of you. Now we're in a place that technology has given us this way of connecting to people, that we don't feel like we need to give up and everything to be able to add value. We can do it from wherever we are, hence why we're here in Al Barari, in the cafe.
I'm from London, I'm from Libya,
London.
we are in Dubai. It's totally different.
Local communities, global communities, and this is the vision of New Earth. How do we connect it all, that we feel like we don't have to give up? Because I'm an all or nothing guy. I've got rid of it all.
Yeah, the same.
And it's like, how do I just find a beautiful balance, Rather than tear the castle down and build it up again, tear it down and build it up again.
Yeah, this is what we've been doing.
And now you're going out there to the Philippines to build your castle. So I'm intrigued to let's see what we can illuminate on this subject for you. So share, please. So
Philippines it's an idea. So before I met my partner 4.5 years ago, I think. So I used to live in Bali for a year and a half. I went for a week. I ended up there for a year and a half.
As you do.
From London, I forgot even I was living in London, and
I would too.
Literally forgot it. Nobody would call me. I just ended up there. I said, perfect, And then I came back for just a small short trip, a few days, and then I met my partner, and everything else changed. But before I met her, I was literally in Bali trying to find the land where I can buy and create this community you're doing now. And that was 2017. So I ended up letting go of it for a bit because I met somebody. And then we see how it works. And we ended up together, and we have the same dream. And suddenly now we are doing the same thing in Philippines.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so we're going to create this a new environment for people who seeking still. They can come. It's all energy healings and sound healings. And then we are helping the schools there, the locals. We're giving job to the locals. We're trying to see how can we change something even that's far in Philippines. If they can't come to us, we go to them. For me, this is how it's going to work. So I'll be spending time between, if everything went okay, I'll spend time between London, Dubai, Philippines.
How do you support that? I mean, is your business from what you did in your 20s, is that something that's still...
That's what I always do, still do. Like even today I was doing something. I worked in liquidation, so I buy company who have problems.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you
So I buy the
tweak it up.
I buy the inventory,
Okay.
and I get rid of the inventory and ship it all around wherever country will take it.
Break it down for parts, as
Yes,
they say.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not interested in the company and trying to keep it, but I will literally get rid of the inventory they have. And I've been doing that for the last 18, 19 years.
So that's your
That's
bread and
my
butter.
core business. Yeah.
That's your bread and butter. Okay.
But that is perfect because I can work from anywhere. I just need my phone. So I let go. I had a company there. A well-known company, Spy Master. So I let go of that. So I'm just everything. Everything. I'm trying to not carry things with me.
I hear you let go of the baggage. You know
Yeah.
what, man? When I was in London, I was working on behalf of Success Resources at the time, representing Tony Robbins. I was speaking, around the world, wherever they needed me. I was speaking and everything else. And I'd have my bachelor pad in London, paying a lot of money for it.
Of course.
And it was kind of bare, though, because
soulless.
For me, it was just, I needed the kitchen and I like to make healthy food.
Yeah.
Hello, New Earth Cafe. But otherwise, it was a waiting ground for something more. Because just living for me was just not enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my coaching business, I was like, but then it's always me.
Yeah.
Weirdly. And what I noticed...
There's always something missing.
Yeah, and when you suddenly realize that I can be anywhere in the world.
Yep.
And I'm still in London. Why do I feel like I'm waiting to live? I could be anywhere. And sometimes there's an experiment they did called the jam jars. And they had 2 stores. They had one store that just had 3 cans of jams, 3 types. Raspberry, strawberry, blueberry, let's say.
Yeah.
And then they had another stand that had like 30 different jams. What happened is the people who'd go to the stand that had all the jams would get analysis paralysis and they wouldn't know which one to pick.
Too many
just
choices.
Too many choices.
Yeah.
And the ones you go to 3, you just go, okay, that one, done.
Simple.
When you suddenly have your phone and you can be anywhere in the world and you don't have to... I had analysis paralysis. I didn't know where to go, what to do. I kind of just was like, I need to... And I downgraded myself just because I wanted to... It's like I'm waiting in an airport terminal. I was like in a little box room going... And,
where do I need to go?
And I was just sort of waiting. I'm waiting, going... Because I was looking to go somewhere, but I'm still in London. Why am I tied to London? I had my, let's say, past there and certain people in my life at the time. And, there's comforts and certainty and familiarity.
Of course.
Yet there I am going
No.
I need to break free. And that step came when Cyprus, north of Cyprus, when I did a talk there in the south of Cyprus and I met somebody, a friend, and I moved to the north of Cyprus and I felt home for the first time because, one, the rent is cheap and I could pay a quarter the price. I had the mountains, I had the sea. In London, you pay and then you get, and it's just like, and I didn't need to chase clients and grow my business and in the sense that to make money to pay for my bills.
People work like a...
Yeah, and I was earning, and I was earning a lot, but it was just like a sieve.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, why? So how long do I have to work for? For how long does this have to go on for?
Yeah.
It's like, it felt like insanity. So for me, like my coaching, I wanted to get to the place where I got to say, I just didn't want to charge anybody, but I needed to in order to live. So when I moved, it was like, I only needed a few clients and I could continue my life. Yeah. And within a few months, suddenly I met my wife and my life just went, whoops, the complete opposite, We have
the same story.
So it's, the shift happened because I let go of needing anything or wanting anything. I actually had everything I needed, let's say.
Yeah.
I had everything I needed, like the home. I settled within myself, which then suddenly made space for the next evolution, like the expansion. And that's why I attracted my wife, who's a very expansive, spiritual, she's a beautiful woman.
And to switch that switch, what's for you, it comes.
It came at the time, and I was in a time when I was service of others, and I was in that point of one to many. Like many, I would show up to events. I was speaking at one event in Cyprus for like 100 women, and I was the only man.
Oh, wow.
They invited me into their inner circle, and I'd be doing all these different types of events. Like, invited to women events a lot of the time until the one to many became the many to one, which was my wife. Suddenly COVID happened anyway.
Yeah.
So everything just sort of worked out in the right timing,
Supposed to.
So I relate to you, man. So going back to your, the transition, You met your...
Yeah, I met my partner, and she has the same feeling. She didn't know. She left Finland. She has different experience before. She ended up in Saudi, in Dubai, in London. So she always had that urge to get out, and that's what I have. Those days, Libya has an embargo. You can't get out of Libya, basically. There's no way. There's no airplanes, only ships to Malta, and you have to do the impossible to get out. It's under dictatorship. So I somehow, the pull was so strong, I managed to get out. But it's the same, like you just said, that feeling urge. If you're talking to 100 women or you're talking to one person, you just want to talk.
To be seen.
To
accepted,
share. You just want to share it.
To be heard.
But the thing is, for me, is even if you want to be heard, who's the person you want them to hear you? It's only yourself.
Exactly.
So people thinking, okay, I just want to be heard by others. It's not really.
Mm-hmm.
It's yourself. It's something else there.
But you have to go through
you
that.
You just need to look at it.
Exactly. What is it that actually I'm looking to be heard by?
Look there. The mind will never take you there. Only under hard circumstances, usually. You have
Imprisonment.
to hit, you have to hit the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Tragically happens, things like that. That will get you to that place. I don't wish it for anybody. If people just need to stand in the mirror and just look to those eyes you're looking with and see what you see.
When people, what I notice, I'm all about prevention is better than the cause. Prevention is better than, is that the right? Prevention is better than the cure.
Yeah.
That's the one. Not waiting for that moment. And from what I'm understanding and what I've learned and all these years, and I'm putting this down into a book because it's actually kind of hard to believe, really. And to see the timelines and construct it in a way that's going, what we thought was one world and that it's all structured in a certain way and it's, you know, it's science and it's mental. And what about the spirit and the things that we can't explain? There are certain things that I've witnessed that there's a divine universal law that is at play here. Yeah. And it's just a matter of our awareness of actually seeing it. That's constantly happening every single moment for all 8 billion of us. Whatever else
100%.
that's happening in this moment. So with this observation and seeing it in my own life, okay, there's something called duality that you can't have positive without negative. As in, you'll never have more than something else. There's always, it's just a matter of our perspective in that moment. Can we see both sides simultaneously? And are we able to synchronize it and synthesize it so that we can be in a state of gratitude and love, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Whatever comes to us, whatever, if we've lost somebody or if we've gained something,
the possibility
it's the illusion.
The possibility is endless.
Energy can either be created or destroyed. So everything just changes form, but we're attached to the form because our limitation is, well, if it's that, it needs to stay that way. But what if that form changes shape? Even that person leaves. And it's suddenly their aspect of them disperses. They've come from the one to many, right? Yeah. And you can suddenly see the universal law that there's nothing missing, that you actually see them in everything. Yeah. Because you actually realize, wow, if neither can be destroyed or created, then what we have is perfect. What we have is everything. And it's coming to that realization. I can't remember the point where I was coming from the beginning of this, but we're going somewhere. And I give this up to Dr. John DiMartino, and I'm listening to his prophecy experience at the moment. And it's an awakening in experience.
They want to call it enlightenment. They want to call it whatever they call it. It's just a realization. For us, is always, what is it we're chasing? What are you chasing?
What are you chasing?
Yeah, it's like, for me, it's chasing that peace.
Guess what happens when you chase peace?
Yeah, I run away.
No, you trap war.
Yeah, because the peace run away.
Because peace, what is the opposite of peace?
Of course.
So whenever you seek, you'll always attract the opposite.
Seek out there.
Yeah.
It's not out there. You can seek as much as you like. You go around the blocks, nothing happened. As millions and billions before you. And the only way to go, you're going to the grave like the ones before you. If you had the realization earlier, which is, it's not, people, everything they think is hard. The first year you talk about something, for me, I had a few talks in London. The minute you say something to somebody, They say, oh, why you always chilled out? I'm fucking chilled out. I'm always chilled out. I don't like stressful people. I don't like bad energy around me. I'm just easy. I want easy people around. But the minute I said somebody, what happened? You're just sitting here now. Like me and you were sitting here. Oh, it's hard. Hard doing nothing is the easiest thing to do. You're not doing anything. But the mind never stops. People always thinking for the next one, for the next one. And they'll be sitting with you and chatting with you, but their mind's eating them alive. They can't stop. As much as you trying to stay in this present moment, trying to stay calm, trying to stay peaceful and chilled out and easy, your mind never stops. The only way, just let it run. It's like an engine next to you. After a while, it just gets tired. As long as you just stay where you are and let the mind run. So I try to manage that.
How's that going for you? Because when I hear the word try, it's like
You always...
you try to, as Tony Robbins say, try to pick up a chair. You either pick it up or you
just
don't.
pick up the chair. Yeah, of course.
So when you say that, how? What does that mean?
It's not really the word try, because we use language just to try to explain something. I can't explain to you what we're just sitting here. What do you want me to explain to you about sitting? It's nothing. We're just here, sitting in these chairs.
I'm sure there's a lot we can say about us sitting.
But the thing is, you can with the mind, yeah, with language and mind and everything, you can.
Yeah.
But nothing happened. We're just here.
Well, internally, there's a whole lot going on.
100%. Your mind's still learning. Yeah. Even now, we're doing a broadcast. We're gonna share with these people. Blah blah. It's just happening. Everything can happen. We will finish this podcast. We move on. It's still happening.
Yeah.
And it's another moment happening. This moment will pass like this, eh? This one will pass too.
Or
So
otherwise,
if
it'll be
you
the longest podcast on the planet if it doesn't.
That'll be a great one. But the thing is, people always say, they will come and start talking and they'll say, I have all these problems and I have relationship problems and all that. I say, will pass. Like any other issues you had before, will pass.
Unless you hold on to the story.
The story is not what happened.
Well, the story is the illusion of what happened, and
Yes.
it keeps us there. Because I've run my own stories, and as a coach,
yeah.
I've helped people divorce their stories, or understand that the story that if anybody's having a story right now, go back to that moment and just ask yourself, is that really what happened? Is that really the truth? Because a memory and imagination is not real.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you have a perspective of what happened, the idea that, say, something happened to you and you're a victim, well, with the universal law, that's always saying, no, there's the other side, because everything's about bringing you into equilibrium, and it's all about love. And when you go, well, no, I want to fight that. Why would you want to fight that? The universe is actually here to give us everything we need to be in love in every moment. Let's align to that. So whenever you see, oh, no, it shouldn't be a war, and go, well, if you're seeking peace, you're going to attract war. But what are the advantages of war? Evolution, technology, there's certain things have come out of it. So there's nothing to judge in any moment, which is very difficult because there's a lot of stigmas. This could open up to a whole array of different
100%.
subjects that some people obviously are triggered about.
Different countries at war.
Exactly. And it's been forever that we've known about humans, that they've been at war with one another, because potentially seeking peace, but everybody's going to have a different perspective. And when we come to align to a perspective of seeing the universal order in play, that everything is all about bringing us into equilibrium, it's about love, then how do we stop seeking to attract the opposite, and we just accept for what is? Because then in that place, then we have a transcendental experience that no more do we need the polarization to occur in society. That we actually accept for what is without judgment. Because I've noticed in myself, whatever I've judged, it's stuck to me like a magnet. 100%. And I've had to go through the very thing I've judged and go, whoa, okay, I need to be careful
100%.
what
I was literally
I think and feel,
judging a lot about what's happening now, literally with this war in Palestine and Israel. And I'm looking at these kids are dying everywhere and all these things. And I'm just thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Is anybody seeing what's happening? Both sides. It doesn't matter what it is. And then you realize these powerful people, it's a mindset. They're still chasing peace in their own way of thinking. If they want a position in government, if they want a position in the world, they're all chasing to get that peace in their own self to feel safe. It doesn't matter. They're trying to escape debt. And that's how I see it. Anybody who's trying to get power, trying to escape debt, when you break it down, they're scared of debt. So everything happened for a reason, as happened before. Where society turned up today is the same.
Well, they say the pathway to hell is paved with good intentions. I believe that's the quote by Alan Watts. I think it's Alan Watts. That you see it, like you see it in the movies, you see it here, that they really believe that their intentions are good.
Yeah.
When you see good, when you obviously you have the other side of bad, right? Is it good? Good for who? You know, whose perspective? Did they look at the cost damage ratio? Is it out of love? You know, we all have a matter of perspectives, and powerful people, you know, are serving their role. They wouldn't be here unless, you know, the divine put them here. And rather than saying, pointing the finger, going, it's because this, this, and this, and this, when we stop doing that, and everybody stops pointing fingers at one another, and we actually just start looking within, then we can really start to make the transition that has been spoken about in biblical scriptures. You know, the heaven on earth, or the new earth, as we will.
Let's call it.
And that only place can consist of when you see things for what they truly are, both sides simultaneously. Not, this is great, however, because you have a judgment about it. Because what is morality? You know, at the end of the day, there are certain topics of taboo that can be illegal in one country, but it's actually illegal in another country.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then morality is a very, you see what I'm saying? Like, to go into the place of judgment and say what's wrong or right, who are we to say anything? If it wasn't, it's just a matter of perspective. Who are we to say what is? We can put our own boundaries up of what we're willing to take on in self-abuse, and put our boundaries down to say, look, I am not willing to accept X, Y, and Z, but I'm not going to judge you, suppress you, or do anything else.
It's a human nature. For me, it doesn't matter who you are. You're born in England, or you're born in Libya, or you're born in Palestine, or in Israel. When you are born, there's nothing there for just as a human being. But then conditions happened.
Of course.
The conditions, this is where separations happen to us.
Of
Then
course.
you have rights more than somebody else who has rights. And this is the divine we're trying to stop. Conditions, that's why I went for schools in Philippines. Try to not condition the kids to see the divine, the division between them and somebody else.
So you're going to help them to make sure that they're not conditioned to feel like they're less.
We try, yes, of course,
Okay.
because if you look at them, the kids, they're amazing kids.
Well, the kids are kids.
Exactly,
They're kids
as
from
we
one
all
country to the
are.
next
It
country.
doesn't matter who you
Blank
are. You
slate.
can put kids together, black, white,
Neither's
Muslim,
less
non-Muslim,
intelligent
doesn't
or
matter.
more
It's
intelligent
the
one
same.
another.
It's the
Yeah.
same. You can pick up a kid from this family and put him in another family, will grow up in that kind of conditions.
Absolutely.
So that will show you it's all just conditions. So how can we stop conditioning humans, or condition from and you have to go for the roots, which is children. And this is the aim for us.
Well, not only the children, it's the environment they're in.
Of course.
We set up something called the Value Game. It's an app, but the technology is not there yet. But we have ideas, part of the new earth, that we want to integrate. And we can obviously talk about that when we're in a place that's ready. But it's a parenting app in a way that it helps parents and children, because parents are still kids themselves.
Of course.
They have their inner child that is still wounded, that is conditioned, that is wearing those, you know, rose-tinted glasses, that how they see the
They're
world.
just passing their own
They're-
condition.
And we're just like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah,
passing on to the
you
next,
need to
passing on
break
to the
that.
next.
I
It's
don't
a
want you to pass anything
ancestral
anymore.
line.
Stop passing.
But I mean, we are in a place in time where technology is obviously allowing us to connect, and people are able to shift their perspectives a little bit more, where they were hardwired to believe that, you know, in their tradition, say like India that's close by, that, you know, arranged marriages and they wouldn't go against their parents, so it gets passed on, rather than actually going, oh, there's other perspectives out there. There are choices. There are things that may be aligning to my highest values, maybe that don't resonate to the culture I'm in. And some people, you know, are unable to break from it, you know, because if they might get shamed, which is
Yeah.
the lowest vibration of, you know, feeling that feeling is close to death, you know. So some families, you know, kind of keep you within their field because shame is such a powerful weapon.
Yeah.
You know, because they feel so proud and you can't have pride without shame, and shame without so there's a duality again, because family's feeling proud. Then if you're doing anything that would shame them, they're going to shame you, and so the duality will never go away until you integrate it.
They all scared if they own because you're going to shame me. How's that possible? What I do should not affect you.
Well, that
is where our problem is.
People and families, they think that they own their children.
Societies.
They think they own their children,
of course.
but not realizing that children come through.
Yeah.
That you don't own a body, a person, because in that sense,
you couldn't.
Well, no wonder slavery came about. If a family member sees their children as potentially their runner, like when I grew up, my father, he was conditioned in his way, and we had to do chores.
Yeah, of course.
And I've just come out to this realization with my wife that in my life, since from a very young age, I've had to do things. I've had to do this. I had to peel potatoes. I had to pick up the dog's poop. I had to walk him. And there was a very much have to. And when you come from a place of having to rather than get to, it's just a shift of perspective. But my whole life, I've felt like a juvenile dependent, because when you have to do something, you're a juvenile. When you get to, you're becoming, you're starting to act by your higher self, your telos, where you're aligned to your highest values. You feel empowered. You feel like you're living. And adults should never feel like they have to do anything. They get to. And when you show up to life, you become grateful. Mm-hmm. So here I am with all of this, and there's a part of that child within me that feels like it has to do things, because I didn't know about boundaries. I didn't know about that when you have to do something, it's self-abuse. And when as an adult, as a child, you feel that you can't. But then I'm just saying, to finish that, I'm transitioning to the place of, oh my goodness, I can say no to something because I can live by my highest values. I love to research, listen, educate myself, reading, of course, which is spontaneous, building the new earth, integrating that, and there must be something else. Of course, it goes with my family. Why is it? Because I'm in the New Earth Cafe. So it's my family, because I'm doing it with my family. I'm always at home, so my family's around me. So it becomes integrated. I have the education and building the businesses. So, and I'm like a hermit. And I just realized myself, I'm not really a social person. I actually don't socialize. In fact, if I didn't have a podcast, I'd probably just carry on learning. But I want to do this because I like to grow, and everything has a purpose. 100%. If it doesn't have a purpose, I'm going somewhere. I feel kind of lost unless it has a purpose behind it towards my highest values. And I couldn't communicate that before because I never had the space to. And I didn't realize that I thought like, well, maybe I have to step away from my life with my wife to feel that way, because I've always felt that by myself, but I felt there was something missing. Now I'm in a place that I can actually have both. I didn't know that was even a possibility.
Yeah, but because you found the same person.
Yeah, she's my person.
You understand where you are, and you understand where they are. So that's what happened, even with me, with my partner.
Exactly.
The problem, we pull away over the years because we haven't found the right one who understand where you are.
Who can accept us for who we are, because they've accepted themselves.
You can't change somebody who you are. Who you are never change. How you're born, that's not going to change. Your mindset maybe change here and there, or your conditioning. But like you said, you felt like, oh, I'm going to pull away from my wife because I want to do it myself because nobody understands. But then you found the right person to you connected with. You can literally, wherever you say, it works. Wherever she says, it works.
Well, I suppressed myself, and with my suppression, I projected it onto her that she was somehow suppressing me, which she wasn't. And this is what it comes down to, because everything's our internal world. That's why everything's subjective. So when anybody shares a story about anything, I know it's not true. They're missing information. Yeah. And when we come from that place and we understand that, you know what? Is anybody actually honest? You know what the most honorable thing is? On our emblem, it says love and honor. And I thought to myself, well, if it's not honor, then there's dishonor. Love, you can't really have the opposite. But I guess the opposite of love is judging love. But we have love and honor. Most honorable thing you can do is honor where you've been dishonorable, because everybody's dishonest. Because our reality is subjective based on our conditioning. So what is actually true? You see what I'm saying? Like, so when you come to that place of honoring what you honor that you've been dishonorable, that is love, because then people say, oh, you just owned up to something here where you've noticed, and the ego usually goes, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to stop myself. But it stops yourself from actually integrating and actually coming closer to the truth, which is love.
What happens if we simplifies it to just accept who you are? It's very easy, huh? People do so much.
So easy.
No, but you can't fucking do anything about it.
Well, it's
If you
easy and
just
it's hard
accept
at the
who
same
you are,
time.
That is what your mind say. That's
It's easy
what
and hard
exactly
at the
the
same
mind
time.
come very quickly and say, oh, it's easy and it's hard and it's this.
Well,
No, you can't do nothing. Except you cannot do anything. Accept who you are, everybody else will accept you. The problem, we never approach people who we really are. That's why we always
we
have
the
conflicts.
facade, we have
Of
the
course.
mask.
That's
and
just where
everything.
you have conflicts, because people somehow, the mindset, accept who you are in a way, when you come up as a facade face, inside they know it's not who you are. The people you connect in deep with, my experience, is the ones you talk different language. Not this language, it's another way of connecting without the mind coming in. Yeah? It's like when you meet somebody the first time,
Yeah.
there's no judgment because you don't know anything about them. But that's what
You'd be
you like
surprised.
them. No, but this is when you like somebody and you connect with, is that connection, the first connection you have, this is without judgment because you don't know anything.
Well, they can say that when you meet a person within 0.15 seconds, you're already making your profile type. You're already projecting onto them their likes or dislikes about somebody within.
But there's no, this
second.
is no connection. There's different situation when you connect with somebody in a different level. The minute you have that feeling of really strong connections, later the mind's gonna come and start to box them why they don't fit in this fucking box. They don't, because that's what your mind trying to put them in a box to compare them to another box you had before.
But you will notice that this was like a sales thing, like the training, everything else you go through. When you meet somebody, you're already making a judgment
Of course.
based on the filter system you have. And of course, so that's why first impressions are they're quite,
of course.
because, if you look at somebody and somebody's so solidified in their view of life and they are not willing to budge and be flexible when they judge, they're already going to label you. And it doesn't matter what you say or do. They've already
100%.
labeled you in that moment, and that's it. But you know what? You're going to find people like that in the world. You're going to, and they don't have to stick around in your world. It's like this. People will live out their life and not realizing that they're making their decisions based because their mum and their dad or their grandparents, say certain things and they still stuck by it. And you have to ask yourself, oh, is your mum, are they your mentor? Do you want to live their life? And you go, well, no, not really. So why are you basing your life on their teachings?
Mm-hmm.
If that's not the case, question it. Anyone who thinks they found the truth, run from them. Anybody who's still seeking it, run towards, And we're students, and it seems like we're seeking that. You're in the Philippines right now. You've mentioned that, you're going there for your slice of heaven.
Yeah.
You're going somewhere to find the heaven. What about the heaven inside you? Actually, saying that heaven also does mean the other side.
100%. I'm not going to Philippines to find heaven. I'm going to Philippines because that's where I've been pulled to.
Yeah.
Which is, I know before I went there, is the same like if I'm going to Bali or going to Mexico or going to even Libya and to the beaches and to the forest. This is my nature. I'm always been, even when I was in Libya, it's the same. I always has been in that environment. I quickly go to what you just said about the judgment, how you are, and people will put you in a box and all. We both have this experience probably because I had this in London. The first meeting, I always turn up with the suit. All these companies and all these things. I'll turn up, I usually, this is what I like to wear. Comfy clothes. I live in tracksuits or shorts. In Palawan, I was living just in shorts, no t-shirts, no shoes, which is my favorite thing. But in London, every meeting, the first meeting to a company or CEOs a meeting, I always with the suit on. And the first expression, they will do the deal. Tomorrow I turn up with tracksuits, I don't give a shit, sorry. But the first meeting always that way, which is sad because then that's how a human's being conditioned to judge and put you in a box from the first expression, like we talked about. They see you like this today, I can't wear a suit going to Palawan. They will judge me, think, what's wrong with you?
Of course.
Yeah.
How can you do business with them?
So I go with my nature. So it works. It just the way humans are being conditioned. Sometimes I watch and I get fascinated by what comes out of their mouth or what they say or where their patterns. And another thing is probably aware of this as well in your work or in your business or your friendships. People have the same pattern. Doesn't matter who they are, because the condition is the same. So the minute you realize why everybody's doing the same thing, why everybody's saying the same thing,
What thing?
what is the different as a humans being conditioned to chase, to get more, to grasp for more, and all these things, or less. Even for taking less is still another opposite to taking more. So what happens if you just be there and feel every sensations you have and see where that take you to?
Absolutely, there is. I wouldn't say obviously everybody, because there has to be a balance, right? That there are people who take and there's people who give.
Yeah.
Because you can't have one without the other. But as the populations do grow, there's obviously more giving and taking. And so there's, what is really the truth? I mean, how much depletion of things are there in the world? And, at the same time, the philanthropists who are giving to the world, everything's in balance. And because I see like the idea that there's protests and people argue for one side and there's the other side. And you can think to yourself, guys, this has been happening forever. Since humans begun, there's always sides. There's always perspective. When are we going to get onto the side of seeing both simultaneously? When are we going to get to the side of going, having Democrat and Republican, having Labour and having Tories, having like in the political structures, like, can we not just accept and realize that whenever you choose a side, especially make a stance, you're going to attract the opposite.
Of course, because
that is a universal law. So if you think you can change universal law by making yourself the biggest in one side, you have to be kidding yourself, because as soon as you do that, you're going to attract something else equal or opposite of size. You're always going to attract the other side, and you're going to attract trouble to balance you out. And that person doesn't even realize that they attract the very situation to humble them. But when it comes, you're like, oh, I don't like this. Mm-hmm. But when it comes, you're like, this is not what I bargained for. But you're going, well, if you're feeling this way, the universal law says I need to bring in this to balance it out. So, and when we get to that place of going, well, I need to regulate myself so the universe I don't need to then create situations to balance me out.
Yeah, of course.
You see what I'm saying? Because have you been proud when you come home and then, your missus will say something, hey, and you're like that. I felt really proud a moment ago, and now I don't. I resent her for the fact I did that. But once you know the universal law in play, that she's actually serving you to bring you into equilibrium so that you don't set yourself up to fail. A bigger one, that she's actually there as an agent of the universe. I'm using a lot of Dr. John DeMartini's phrases here because I'm doing his course. And so it's like, well, let me self-regulate. Prevention is better than the cure. Rather than just thinking everything's random, because nothing is actually random.
There's nothing random.
In fact, everything is orchestrated to bring us into balance. Everything's
nothing random.
The beauty of the thing is that there is a divine intelligence that is governing this universal law that is the same for every single being on this planet.
100%. The thing is, people thinking,
to the new Earth water, Kangen, restructured,
Clear
alive water, charged with 5D crystals.
It's true. Everything happens for you.
Yeah.
Everything, bad or you want to call it bad or good, it's happened for you. If you accept that, life's much easier.
When you hear that and you say the universe is just doing what it's got to do to bring you into equilibrium, it's all love. Then you go, well, what about the people who died? You go, well, that means you're making a judgment that death is worse than life. There are many people who want to choose death because they can't handle life. And who says that death is worse than life? Where did that come from? Because energy can either be destroyed or created. So who are we to say that death is bad? When we see that when somebody goes, people celebrate. Somebody goes and some people are sad. Different spectrum. Everything's in equilibrium. We don't know what we're transitioning to, but there's the idea of people who come back, resurrected. That's Jesus. Who come for, what am I looking
Another
for?
life.
The next life. Or there's so many different meanings and whatever else. What is consciousness and, everything else. But it comes down to the fact that, we're scared of change. We're scared of the unknown. And what's the biggest thing we're ever going to be scared of? Is losing somebody, or we lose our own life. And are we going to go peacefully in the night, or is it going to be painful?
Well, even when you're losing somebody, literally you're always scared about yourself dying.
Yeah. I got to say, I would be honest with people watching it. I'm distracted because, we have one camera which is recording me. And you probably see that it blanked out. And, the irony is when I set this stuff up myself, I check these things. And then I had a professional come in and he didn't check the memory cards of how much space we actually have to record this stuff. And there's a moment when I want to point the finger, zenning out, and to go, you know what? I need to check these things. But you think you've given yourself. It's like the positive and negative. When you do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. The negatives are you're doing it yourself and it's your time and everything else. But there's nobody else to point at. It's just yourself.
Yeah.
When you start to hire people and you build a team, then the finger goes to them because they haven't delivered what it is you want. Because who else is going to do a job better than yourself?
Yeah.
This is quite an interesting experiment of what's coming up right now, because when you go through something like this and, what is professionalism? And the hardest thing is, and I get it, like the Elon Musks out there in the world who, when they're entrepreneurs building, you have a vision and you care so much about it vehemently that you put your heart and soul in it. So when it feels like it's not going the way you want it to, there is that element of blame, because it's like somehow it's an attack on the self because of the way, you want it to go out. It's not going out in the way it is. But you have to understand that this is the cost of business. When you are expanding and you're an entrepreneur and you're growing a vision, you're going to be met with situations that is out of your control. And how we handle it, especially we're talking about it now, that yes, because there's such stuff that was coming out and it was, golden, and suddenly there's the camera there that's not even on. And you think to yourself, well, okay,
that's what it is.
People can listen to it. We can have a little bit for me that, whatever picture's going to be up there for when I'm talking. And you know what? It's okay. People don't need to see my face moving for those moments it's moving in that time.
Yeah, but it's not really. It doesn't matter. This will happen.
Well, what is matter, right?
Exactly. How
what
can
is
you
matter?
just say what is right and what's wrong?
And what is the positive of that moment? How do you see it simultaneously?
The perfect situation is very quickly. You see how the mind starts judging the situation.
Well, because it has expectation.
But this is where the problem is.
Well, we're looking for the
issues of judging if it doesn't go in our way.
Yeah.
But it's going our way because you're still doing it.
Well, we are still here.
Yeah,
but you know what?
It doesn't matter.
And I'm just going to say it now because this is real time and this is what this is all about. This is let's see this as a beautiful opportunity.
100%.
Okay, so what did I feel in that moment? I felt like in that moment my feelings were sadness, frustration, and a sense of helplessness because of what's coming out and thinking that this is everything was set up and it's not me having to put my energy into doing it, but then there's the negative side of it. When I was thinking, great, it's going, I've got the team, great. And then obviously the other thing came in to balance me out.
Yeah,
and it came out in this form.
But this is when you just say, relax.
Hakuna Matata, baby.
Yeah,
but
nothing happened.
But those feelings that came up because I lost.
But it's perfect to look
at. But the
those
universe
feelings.
Is saying, Alex, I'm here to balance you out. This is love. You've been just saying this, preaching it. Well, here we are to just test you. Thank you, universe, for bringing me back to the place of love.
But how nice this feeling is. If you look at the feeling and sensation.
I feel it now.
You judge them very quickly and you label them.
Of course.
What happened if you didn't label them?
It's not about the labeling so much because what it's about is not honoring the feelings I felt in that moment. Because I'm doing my best to control my feelings. That's what it's not about the situation itself. Things are just changing form, but my feelings to the fact that the form has changed because energy is just shifting. Nothing's lost. And my illusion is I just lost something. And so what is my feelings that just came up in that moment?
If you look at it honestly, the feeling just came up. The situation changed. You're not supposed to change. You need to be in control of it. It's not supposed these things to happen this way because you really set it up how you want it to be. The universe saying, no, you have enough of it. Now it has to be changed. I'll just accept what happened. That's what happened. And we carry on.
Of course.
And it's nothing changed.
And you know what it is? That when you put yourself into it, because I'm so into this, is my invested into my highest values. If it wasn't something I valued so much, I wouldn't be bothered by it. But I told you, it's like my top 3 values, my family, something happened to the family.
Of course.
You know, not to be triggered by whatever happens. If it's things are changing form, we're going to feel feelings because there is a sense of attachment to it. You know, the outcome, expectations. So how do we loosen that so we don't feel the helplessness, because the universe is ever changing.
I'm very impressed by you, what you just said as well. And for me, watching what just happened, it's an impressive thing. Not many people recover so quick and realize this is what's supposed to happen. Other people will stay and dwell on it, as you probably realize this. For me, just sitting here and watch you, getting annoyed with the situation, I just want to see how far we'll go. And it didn't take you long to get back very quickly and realize this situation I can't control. And I'm very impressed by that.
Thank you, man.
Honestly, it's just, that's why I say I love watching reactions, how people behave, things like this. And it was impressive.
Thank you, man.
I'm very happy with it. I'm glad to see it and experience it with you as well. So,
well, what just happened? Whoa!
But can you see nothing happened? You know?
Nothing happened. It's just, I mean, you witnessed it.
Yeah.
We're witnesses of a
what
situation.
we've been talking about. That's what it is.
I mean, the universe was just going, well, this is what you wanted, right? Yeah. Did I ask for this? I didn't even realize.
I'll make you experience what you wanted instead of just talking about it.
Hey, Q, universe.
Yeah, so it's a good thing.
Well, you know, it's a thing, and how we deal with life happening is. But I understand, you know, there's an empathy for those who are going through this transition, who are not aware of the universal law that is in place, because when you think it's all just random and it's happening to you, I have compassion, I have empathy, I have love for those who are going through situations right now that are, you know, the energy is shifting around them and it's changing form, and they're not equipped to handle, you know, the fact that that's happening. Because in a situation like this, I'm feeling like this. Well, when you do go through a real situation where you've lost somebody, to say, like, to understand that, okay, the universe is, there's nothing neither destroyed or created. Okay, but when you go through that moment, and I have gone through that moment, I lost my mother when I was 9 years old. So, you know, I've gone through it.
You're just saying that I lost my both parents last year. That's now, literally. I lost my mom last Christmas, not this one, the one before. And I lost my dad 5 months ago. So you have a different experience. If losing someone, losing a parent is a totally different story than losing relatives or close people to you. The parents is more than anything else.
Well, the relationship you have with your parents is what you have with the world.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
And, it's a very you have very different feelings, and people doesn't understand it only who they've been through it.
I have to say that, you know, when you're a kid, obviously you're going to run a story, especially when you haven't had a real therapist to actually help you understand it. We didn't really have that. So we're sort of, there's the universe giving us this situation.
Yeah.
You didn't have a therapist, which in a way is not bad either, because there's neither.
That's what's supposed to happen.
I needed to go through this.
Yeah.
There's the abandonment issues. There's, you know, I'm to blame. She wasn't. Was I lovable enough that she wasn't willing to, you know? Cause did she not want to stick around? And I've really learned something about illness and why cancer comes into place. And illness is all a feedback mechanism, from what I've learned. Okay, so illness is feedback mechanism. It's psychosomatic. there's a disease, it all comes down to perception. So when we have an extreme perception of an event from our side, because we're missing information, we're stressed. That stress invites an illness.
Yes,
That
of course.
illness is to bring us back into equilibrium.
Yes.
That's why cancer is there. And I realized that, before I could say it's my dad's because how he was, and my mother, and they were looking to get a divorce, and suddenly
This
she
is
got
a
ill,
blame game.
and they came together. Her illness brought them together because that's what illnesses do. They bring people together, right? So it serves a purpose. The universe doesn't just do it randomly here. And I realized that if cancer is coming in because of somebody's extreme perception of an event that is not actually true, and it's to bring them into equilibrium, my mother must have had an extreme perception about my father and about her life that brought about cancer. So there's nobody to blame.
No.
In fact, she manifested it within herself.
100%.
And so my father was living by his highest values. He was living his life. Nobody's doing anything wrong or right. My mother had a reaction and perceived it as a certain way. And then that cancer came in to bring into balance a need of hers, which she gained from my father. Became close. They didn't divorce. But at that cost of ultimately her life that she needed to leave because she maybe not being willing to let go of perception. But I don't know that at the time,
Maybe
of course.
that was a teaching to your dad.
Well, it was also a teaching,
Yeah,
but
of
my mother,
course.
and this is like we can go to Jesus Christ, the idea of her sacrifice, and is it, our higher selves, our spirit saying, well, I'm willing to change form now
Sad to
in
say
order
it
for
as
the universal divine order to take place.
As you just said now, she could be a teaching to your dad. We look at the war today. The kids who's dying in Palestine is teaching to us. Maybe they're teaching to the rest of humanity to wake up. It's always there's a purpose. Losing my parents is teaching us a different story of life. I have 6 brothers. We have 7 boys. I'm the middle guy. It teaches us to get us even more closer as a family. We have no sisters, so there's no mom there. There's no a female figure to keep order. So we have to learn how to manage things ourselves. So everything is for you. It doesn't matter how it works. Even this podcast being cut off, it's for us.
Well,
Learn something.
I actually appreciate Marcus, our video guy, for whatever he, did he miss it, or was it preordained? Like, it needed to happen.
Yes.
That we got to that place that I can actually be grateful to Marcus for not seeing that, because what it gave me was I'm able to see the divine order take place.
What I saw from you, your reaction to it, that was a gift to you.
It was
Literally, this thing happened is giving you a gift very quickly to recover from. You saw the reaction, suddenly you've gone back very quickly and you recovered. But I move it even further to people situations. That's exactly, it doesn't have to be the broadcast, it could be any situation. If you look at it, very quickly you can go back and say, oh, hold on for a second, why am I reacting this way?
The more attached we are to something, the stronger that reaction's going to be.
Yeah, of course.
And, to get to the place of mastery with ourselves, because you were just chilled sitting there, which obviously helped. Because you were like, it's all good. And you reminded me, like, of course, we're just having a whole bloody conversation about it. How can I forget? I'm deep in it.
You haven't forgotten it. It's just something happened.
So that's where the empathy comes with for people who do not step into this world with this work. And I understand that when they go into the religious scriptures, because I've this last year was been about reading the Quran, the Bible, the New Testament, even the same thing. But, I see it as 2 separate things because they're very different. And Bhagavad Gita and and all of these things that scriptures, and I've learned that, religious scriptures actually came as based on what did he say it was? Within nature, because of the fears of nature, we were unprotected. We needed to create something like a religion to balance us out of the fear that we were going through, because it comes into, we needed something to reach for because we were in a pretty scary time. All these things coming out because it's dualities to bring us
Yeah,
into
yeah.
balance. And people seek for that comfort. They need to feel like, you know, their life has some
But people
some
seek
meaning.
people seek for control, somebody to tell them what to do.
That's
Which
the
is
thing. That's the other side of it,
because
and
what
they're being
happened
told
is,
what to do.
but they want to
Yeah.
be told what to do. Humans always give a responsibility to somebody else. Tell me what to do, and make it easier for you.
And then they can blame
Of course,
because they have
then
to
you
take
can be the
responsibility
victim.
for their life.
It's the victimhood.
But this is why we have the wars that are going on in countries
Of
like
course.
this, because those who are being governed and by religion and ultimately giving their power to governments and things like that, they can then take a back seat, and when things don't work out, they can point at everybody else but themselves.
Exactly.
So when then the universe is going, well, if you're going to be complete victim, guess what we're going to give you? You know, if you're thinking that they're going to give you peace and everything else, and then you find yourself in a war situation, you know, this is something that
How-
society has collectively attracted.
How can I give somebody else who's like me control over my life? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't matter who you are. How can you make decisions for me? You're not me to make decisions for me.
I mean, it serves a purpose. I mean, there are positives to it, because if you're in a place that you don't really have to, and I've been there.
Of course, we've all been there.
I like
We all
not
been
taking
there.
responsibility for my life. I can kind of
Yeah,
point the
blame other
finger.
people, it's
My
easy.
ego kind of gets a payoff from
Yeah,
it. You
yeah,
know,
of
I can then
course.
have
Tap
an
in the
excuse
back.
to have a drink,
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
smoke,
Yeah.
you know, and do all these things because, hey, it's not my fault. It's theirs.
It's their fault.
So I have a reason to go and,
But
know.
you're giving them the key to your house.
But then who are we to complain, and how can we be a victim to the fact that we've given up our life to somebody
That's
else?
exactly.
How can it go in the way we think it's going to go when, how can that person know, or that government, or that...
It doesn't matter who it is. It's not
So
you.
it's not to blame them.
So they can't make. It's like me trying to make a decision for you with this situation. I just watched you. You made your own decisions to get back to wherever you want to get back to. So how can I give the key to my house to somebody else to move in, and then I complain about it? It doesn't make any sense. My house, I deal with my own house because nobody knows how my house works except me.
And we're still figuring it out.
Exactly. Even us, we still go from one room to the other room trying to clean up. You know, so it's.
Well,
But it's
that's
an
why-
interesting thing.
That's why it's like understanding what is free will. Do people really think that they have free will? You know, I'm in this stage after 10 odd years, and probably about 15 when I became an actor. That was like the start of me removing my mask. After all these years, that there's moments where I'm triggered, I go into this reactive mode, and I'm not myself, and something else takes over
Yeah.
until I come out of it. So, do I really have free will when I'm taken over? No. I've done all that work, and I can still be triggered because I'm
We all
human
do. We all
until
do.
we come to that place of transcendence. For most people out there who have not done their work, do they really belong to themselves? Or are they running the condition since their childhood because they haven't taken a moment to actually become aware of themselves? And if they don't belong to themselves, then we have people walking around who are zombies. You know, I grew up as a kid and I used to have dreams all the time. I'm shooting zombies because if you don't belong to yourself and you're reactive, then you're insecure, and that can be quite dangerous. And that's why we have certain situations in the world, certain areas of the world where...
But that's why people react. It's just how people are. People react and they forget to get back and center themselves. Why am I reacting this way? Where'd that come from? You know, they don't look at it. They just, okay, I reacted this week, and next week is I'm fine, and then I react, and more the reaction gets stronger if you don't see it. So it's an interesting.
you get
No, they keep me checking it. Yeah, I love seeing that. I really love seeing people's reaction, and then I do get triggered myself as well. And
I asked that something. When's the last time you were triggered?
I get triggered about little things sometimes, and then
What was the last little
a
thing?
deal doesn't go through.
Okay.
A transaction you waiting for, and suddenly something happened.
So what happens? When that happens? What comes up for you?
People doesn't stick to what they're supposed to be doing, and then my decision now I have to deal with all this shit, and I don't want to deal with it anymore because I already dealt with it and I thought it's done and we agreed. I had a situation not long ago, just literally now, a few weeks ago, and
Yeah.
we agreed about something and payments and everything with companies, and then they processed it fine for the last year, and then the last ones they want to process the payments, and now I have to end up taking the company to court, and I'm not interested to do all this. So it's then I got triggered because the person I was talking to and I trusted, a CEO of a company, everything is fine to Christmas, and then Christmas come, and then things start changing, language changing, email changing.
Okay. So that suddenly,
company
who
moving
you
away
thought you were
to the-
going to business with didn't turn out to be
No,
the
no,
person
the business
you
has
thought.
been done a while back. I got investors for a big company, and the payout was monthly. And then the last 4 months payments, so they helped, and they're saying we changed company names and things like this, which is a plan. But before that, till Christmas, cool. They don't tell you what they're doing. They don't know, everything is fine, you know? So I realized, okay, now I found out you literally have a plan without telling me, which I trusted to work with you in it. Yeah, now it's just, okay, what is my position? What can I do about it? Except this is what it is. I'll just go with the process. If what it is, which I did before, so I just go the same route and see what happened. And wherever the outcome is, I'm happy with it. Because there's no way I need to stress this body anymore.
Exactly.
Because everything is stressing me, is making me sick.
Because the perception of it is that there's more negatives than there are positives.
100%.
So what are the positives?
The positive, I am not gonna have sleepless nights thinking about something is not in my control. Somebody else's decision, somebody else's perception of what the situation is, not the way I see it. So I will just go with it how we both see it instead of just how they see it, how I see it, and then I'll just be thinking about it and trying to stress my own way. And if I stressed out, everybody around me stressed out because it's affect everything around you. So let it be. That's what's happening now. Just deal with it as it happened. You're not expected to happen this way, but it happened. So I work with that and move on.
Are you now in a place of gratitude for that person, or where do you feel like? Because this is the moment now, right? Here we go.
Of course.
Because right now you could see yourself as a victim to a situation because they have.
100%.
So do you feel that way now? We haven't done the work yet, I know, to balance it out, but you know where I'm going with this.
No, 100%. I feel being cheated. I feel being lied to. Where the person you are talking with, you literally just, because I'm just easy. I'll just tell you everything. I don't care. I'm very open book.
Yeah.
So you're talking to somebody who's a really the CEO of the company, and begging you not to take them to court, they will settle everything, what's left. And then they settle part of it because it is okay, it seems like genuine, you're just a new CEO, I'll go with that. And I just went with it, and I agreed, and I give them even 2 months extra. They say, we just give us a month. I say, you have 2 months. I'm not worried. So I give them even more, and then I get disappointed. That's the reaction you had early. So I had that a week ago when I was in Palawan, but then I realized, look where I am. I'm in the middle of the jungle, in a beautiful environment, a beautiful sunset, sunrise, and I'm stressed out about something overseas in the United States. Why will I be doing that to myself?
What do you feel now about that person? Are you in a place of, I
No.
thank you, I appreciate you?
I
Or
don't-
is there
I-
still a
it's
bit of a
still
charge?
still that thing you lied to me. You're aware of what
Of
you're
course.
doing. Even I was very open with you and I've given you even more.
Mm-hmm.
You still lied to me.
So there's a charge
that's
still.
still
There's
there. So I work with that.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, okay, slowly, I can't do anything about it. The only thing I can do, go with the law, where humans do.
Mm-hmm.
but still grateful for the triggers I get. But very quickly I look at them
Yeah.
instead
Well,
of
you-
just dwelling
'cause
on it and all that.
Health is very important. I can see that.
My
Same
health is
here.
very important.
The stress, because what is illness again? Illness is having a perspective of a situation because we see it worse from what it actually is. We feel we've been cheated. We
Yeah.
feel that someone's lied to us, and then we have to look at it. Then, if you choose to, not have to do anything, we can choose to go right. Where have I done that myself? If I'm seeing something I don't like about them, then clearly it's a part of me that I haven't yet owned and loved.
Yes. And part of me I haven't looked at because keep happening. See, it's keep happening. It happened from other people, done it to you, other people keep doing it. But there's something you're missing you haven't looked at yourself.
What is that? Well, let's go into it now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think for me is you want to call it naive. I'm very easy to trust people. I'm less now than what I used to be. Over the years, I literally cut everybody out. I used to have 40, 50 people around me every single day.
So when was the earliest moment you can go back to in your life that you felt this moment that's just happened? When did it first happen to you?
Not long ago was 2016, I think, was I realized the people around me, as many as I have, I was pleasing and I was happy people accepting who I am, especially for a foreign person from another country to be accepted part of this group. So I was willing giving my house to them, keys, food, drinks, wherever they want to go, they will come with me to call it the high society of London. So people can't enter places, they will call me, I let them in, I make phone calls and all these different things. And then a friend of mine, which is sadly, she died, she killed herself by overdose. She was very close to me, I treat her as a sister. She ended up overdose while I was talking to her a few hours before. And her death was, I looked at it, like we said, somebody sacrificed for you to realize. That was my realizations of everything around me wasn't what's supposed to be. It's everybody around me was just because they wanted something from me. They want people just want to be with you or hang out with you. They all have their own something to gain out of it. If it's a place to stay, if it's a place to go, if it's a holiday to travel with you, it's everybody wanted something, and I was just giving it, thinking these are friends. And I honestly mean it. It's like 40, 50 people. And the day I said, I'm not doing that, 5 people ended up left there in my house. From 40 people, 5 people.
Well,
So everybody just dropped away very quickly because I'm not doing, or I'm not taking them to the places where they want to go with me to.
so how did that make you feel?
Oh, this is terrible. It made me feel so bad. I just suddenly thinking, oh wow, these people, they went because they want to hang out with me. They just want to get something out of me. And I made the decision, that's when I made the decision to go to Bali. So I left everything and I went to Bali. And Bali gave me the freedom to let go of what the bubble I was living in.
The superficial.
Yeah. And when I landed there, I was thinking, wow, I'm home. Straight away. Nobody cared what you wear, what your status is. Nobody cares how much money you have. I spend most of the time surfing in the beach and eating healthy food, and I found this is heaven for me. This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
And everybody was there genuinely. People around you, they were genuine.
What do you feel about that situation now? Those people who left you, let's say, the story of leaving you.
I
What
feel
do you
sad
feel
for
about?
them. Because for me, perfect. Thank you for this experience, because that even gave me more to look at myself instead of looking at them. They were there to teach me something.
Well, of course, because if they all stayed around,
I would be.
then
I wouldn't move. I wouldn't grow.
And so they need like agents of the universe, let's say, or guardian angel, whatever it is, that they needed to show up to bring things into balance
100%.
because you were giving so much that maybe it wasn't sustainable, and it was you were under the illusion. Maybe you felt proud,
Oh, I was like very proud.
and so when they
And
left,
I got given too much to handle, literally.
and so they needed to bring you into balance by you
Yeah.
felt shamed.
Yeah.
To bring you back into equilibrium because they had to. It's not even like they it's like a choice. It's like the universe is like to bring things into balance because you had so much to give.
It needed to. It needed
The balance of that many people that you were basically, thinking, hey, I'm proud because you go
Yeah,
wherever I
well,
go.
not just that. If you want something, you just come to Harvard. Everything you want, you just come and ask. I felt like, oh, you need something? Yeah, no problem. Everything wasn't a problem for me.
Yeah.
I got too much of it, so I was sharing it. And I realized that was just for me to learn something. And then everything taken away from me.
Yeah.
Overnight,
What do you
everything's
mean?
taken away. So all what I had,
Yeah.
I ended up in Bali. Then I lost the company. I sold it. And then...
Okay. So the company was
every-
lost. What do you mean by
I
that?
sold the company. I got a partner to come in, and then they bought me out of the company, which is my company.
Right.
I bought them in, but they have the purpose to teach me something else. So they owed me lots of money, and they bought me out, and so I have no purpose to be even in London anymore. I
So
let
you-
go of everything. And
Was
I
it
just,
you lost it because it sounds like you lost it, which means that you kind of felt like it was taken from you.
100%. That's how I felt
Okay.
at that time. It's taken away from me. But if it's not taken away from me, I will not learn what I learned today.
Which is beautiful.
I'm so happy about it because I ended up living in Bali, and I had a different experience of the world, and I started seeing the world in a different place. Everything's like what I said. Everything works for you. It doesn't matter. You think it's bad today, tomorrow you say thank you because that took you to another position in life, and that put me today where I am here. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. You mentioned that your Filipino project, let's say, that you're looking to do.
Me and my partner, so yeah.
You and your partners. Is that something that people can like? Are you building it for yourself? Is there a way people can be a part of it to see like an update of what's going on? Can they explore it?
We will share a lot with it. It's me and my partner and the guy Pai, his name. He's from Philippines. His wife's from Finland, the same like my girlfriend. That's how universe works. How odd to meet people. The wife and your wife from the same background. And she's in the Philippines, your wife here, your partner here. And then the guy's mother, her birthday the same as birthday as me, and my partner's her mom's birthday is the same as birthday. It's just how universe brought us together. But what he does, this guy, he teach with sound. So he teaches even the kids with sound. He lay different sounds to bring the kids to different rhythms before even they go into school. He's working with a lot of projects there with trying to bring sound to the schools, the educations. And he's working with a lot of Minister of Education in Philippines. He's doing a lot. Recycling, he does a lot of recycling there. So we had some videos, we did some just now building a place in the school with the plastic bottles from Coca-Cola. Building the whole thing. We were there with the mud and with the kids building with us. It was a beautiful experience. But the land we are getting is to build retreats for people who have something a skill to give. We're willing to let you come there, stay for free, just share your skill with the locals. So that way you can teach one of the locals your skill so he can pass it on. But we will give you an environment to stay in for free, you and your family if you want to, 1 month, 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever time you have. We build in another section would be for doctors to come there and help the locals. We do another section for technology, environment, AI, wherever it is people can bring the experience. For organic, vegan, healthy people who want to come and teach something there, for farming, because they do farming there. So if
Sounds like there's a space for a New Earth Cafe, maybe.
100 million %, 1,000,000%. it is part of what we're talking about now. It's the same what you're doing. It will be complementary to the whole thing. And then for some other people who learn the sound healing and the Kundalini and energies and cap and all these things. So people will pay and come and be taught by this master guy, his name Pai. So that is, we'll go recycle the money straight to the retreat itself and to this community. So we're going to do whatever we can to help and get people together from around the world.
Sounds awesome, man. How can people find you?
We just started. We just been there. We just signed the company just now. We created a company there. So we just started.
When things start wrapping up, we can always just add it to this podcast so people can find it when it is ready and rocking and rolling. The people who just explore it when they, for those who connect to you and they feel your energy and they want to be a part of it, this is what it's all about.
We are very happy. We're very open. We're very easy. And everything we do is going to the Filipino community.
Beautiful, man. I feel like we're going to definitely have another chat.
Why not?
And bring you on again after your next travels and you come back. Maybe you and your missus, maybe just yourself, whatever. But this was awesome. I could go on for a long time.
Here, we can,
I just don't know if I can handle the shift of perception if one of these cameras goes off again. The stress of...
I want it to happen again, so you see the second reaction will be quicker or not.
I'm just going to close my eyes and then everything will just take care of itself.
No, honestly, I'm so proud. You reacted and then you just recovered very quickly.
The universe is like, let's do it to the other camera. Yes. I'm like, I'm going to get a twitch. No, man, it's been great. And you never know how these things are going to, pan out.
Everything happened for a reason. Even this podcast, it happened for
a reason.
I'm here yesterday and suddenly you say, no, should we do this? I say, yeah, why not?
Exactly. This is how it is.
The people don't realize what comes to you, towards you, take it. There's a reason why it came towards you.
Everything.
Everything.
Whatever we perceive as bad,
it is
whatever
good
we perceive as good,
yeah.
Do not get proud. Do not get shamed.
Don't label.
Just
don't label.
Accept
you
what
cross
it is.
some people in parts in your life. You cross some people in the supermarket. You cross some people. People say hi to you. There's a reason. Everything. You just need to be aware of it.
Yeah. Aware of yourself and your interaction with it.
100%.
My man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Been a blessing. You've even broken a bottle as well today. Isn't that awesome?
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, man.
And thanks
Appreciate
for the cafe. We're happy to be here.
Well,
and this will grow for sure.
Yeah, you love it? Well, look, you come here every single day when you're here. So what else?
It is home.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, man.
You feel that.
Yeah.
Thanks
that's what it is,
and
man.
thanks for creating this. Amazing.
Pleasure, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to show out into the world.
It will be great.
Yeah.
And it's going to help a lot of people. Yes.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Much love.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you all.
Thank you
Mwah.
for watching and hope to see you again.
You shall.